This video will guide you through the process of replacing the cable on all Dutton-Lainson electric winches in the 5000 and 7000 StrongArm series. Please note, a separate video on our YouTube channel shows you how to replace the cable on our 9000 or 12000 series winches. We offer a variety of features on our electric winches that your particular winch may or may not have, such as a clutch lever like this one that allows for freewheeling capability, a remote pre-installed that allows you to run the winch from a distance, and the ability to power the winch directly from your car battery, 12-volt DC power, or through a standard wall outlet, 120-volt AC power. Because of all these variances, the cable replacement process also varies from winch to winch, so please follow along only when you see your specific winch described in the top left corner of the screen. No matter what configuration of StrongArm winch you own, you must first remove the cable that is already installed on it, which starts with taking off the winch's cover. If you have a DC winch with a remote, you will see a pigtail coming out of the back of your winch. Grab a standard pair of pliers and use them to pull the strain relief bushing out of its hole so it hangs loose on the remote cord like this. If you have a DC winch without a remote, pull the switch in the attached wiring harness off from the side of the winch and set it aside. If your winch has a clutch, take a number 1 Phillips screwdriver, loosen the 2 screws holding the clutch handle in place, then pull the handle and screws off of the winch. Next, use a 3/8 inch wrench to loosen the bolt found on all 4 corners of your winch's cover. Pry open the front of the cover with your hands and lift it off of the winch. On AC winches, you will have to pull the 3 motor wires out of the frame clip on the side of the winch. On both AC and DC winches, leave all of the wires connected to the cover and simply set it aside while you replace the winch's cable. If your winch doesn't have a clutch, use a flathead screwdriver to pry off the E-ring found on top of the pinion gear. Pull off the pinion gear and set it aside next to the E-ring. If your winch does have a clutch, turn it clockwise so it points towards the ground. Then simply pull off the existing cable until none of it remains on the winch's reel. Now, on the side of the winch opposite the gears, take a 7/16 inch wrench and use it to loosen the nut that is holding the cable clamp in place. Remove the nut with your fingers, followed by both the clamp and the bolt. Then, pull the existing cable out of the winch's reel. Next, we find it helpful to use a standard set of pliers to put a kink about 2 inches from the end of your new cable so it looks like this. Slip the new cable through the slot that you just removed the old cable from, ensuring that it stays on top of the outside of the reel. Bend the cable where you made the kink, then tuck it between the reel and the base of the winch. Insert the carriage bolt through both the square hole on the reel and the loop you just created in the cable. Place the cable clamp so the bolt fits through its hole and its winged edges fit over the cable like this. Set the nut on the end of the bolt with your fingers, then use your 7/16 inch wrench to tighten it completely. The cable clamp area should now look similar to this. If your winch doesn't have a clutch, slip the pinion gear back onto its spot on the gear side of the winch, then use your flathead screwdriver to pry the E-ring back in place. If your winch does have a clutch, turn it back towards the front of the winch. For safety purposes, we strongly recommend that you now reinstall the winch's cover before actually winding the new cable onto the reel. Soon we will show cable being wound onto a coverless winch, but that is only so you can visually see how the cable should look as it's being wound. In order to reinstall the cover, hold it open and place it on top of your winch. If your winch is AC powered, place all 3 motor wires back into the frame clip on the side of the winch. Now, it is very important for you to understand that your winch could experience serious electrical problems if any of the 3 motor wires are hit by the winch's gears that spin during normal operation. So, be sure to tuck these wires into the corner of the cover as far away from the gears as possible when you reinstall the cover on an AC winch. If you have a DC winch with remote, be sure the red connector fits into its slot when reinstalling the cover. Next, grab the 2 longer cover screws and use your 3/8 inch wrench to screw them into the corners of the gear side of the winch. Then get the 2 shorter cover screws and tighten them into the opposite side's corners. On DC winches with a remote, squeeze the pigtail's bushing back into its hole using both your pliers and your fingers if necessary. For DC winches without a remote, firmly press the switch and harness back into its slot on the side of the winch. If your winch has a clutch, line up the largest hole on the handle with the largest hole on the clutch. Press the handle down, then tighten both screws with your screwdriver. Now it's time to install the new cable on your winch. Don't forget, your cover should already be reinstalled at this point. You're currently seeing a coverless winch just to make it clear how the cable should look as it's being wound. Connect the winch to a power source, turn it on, then begin winding the cable onto the reel. Be sure to have a firm grip on the cable and pull back pretty hard on it as it's being wound to ensure that it gets evenly distributed onto the reel. Once all of the cable is on the reel, take 2 long twist ties and use them to secure the hook to the bottom of the winch's base. You're now finished with replacing the cable on your winch. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to our channel to watch more of our videos. For information on every Dutton-Lainson product, visit us at Dutton-Lainson.com.